Hi there, I'm Kaysie Butler and I want to tell you a story today from a long time ago, way back in the 1870s. This story happened in an area called Scranton in Pennsylvania in the United States. Now it turns out there are a lot of mines in this area, and this story is about an incident from one of the mines. You know, mines can be dangerous places. There are all those big tunnels and the roofs can fall in, miners go in digging down, and sometimes things happen and people can get trapped down there and even killed. And mines can be, in some ways, just as dangerous today as back then. Now in the story, there was an accident and some men got stuck. But there was something else that happened in this story from which we can learn a powerful lesson. Well, the men were stuck and rescuers around them were frantically trying to do all they could to get the men out. They tried everything possible, every strategy to get out the miners. Now, most of the miners were Germans and all of their families were around and they'd been working hard for a long time now. People were distressed. They were distraught and frantic. It was now 3 days after the accident, and the rescuers were almost ready to give up. Some of them thought, look, it's been 3 days. What chance is there? These miners are probably not even alive. But they still continued. And the person who witnessed the situation, he noticed a small German girl who was 11 years old, who was just standing watching all that was happening around her. She was pale-faced and frightened, and you could tell that she knew the seriousness of the situation and everything that was happening. And he watched her closely, and then he noticed her lips beginning to quiver, and suddenly the girl began to sing. At first it was a very faint whisper, but then grew louder and louder as she gained courage. What was she singing? Well, she was singing a well-known hymn that the Germans around her, the German miners, would have known from childhood. It was, "A mighty fortress is our God." As her voice was louder as she gained courage, the people heard it and they were amazed, awestruck. Here was this girl singing in such a terrible situation. Well, one by one, the people caught the idea and they joined her in singing the song. So there were miners and their wives and any other children around. They all started singing and joining in this little girl as she sang, "A mighty fortress is our God," until the whole group of people gathered around the mouth of the mine had joined in the song, and they sang with their whole hearts. What were the words that they were singing? Well, here's part of it. It says, "With force of arms we nothing can. Full sooner we are ridden, but for us fights the godly man, whom God himself hath bidden. Ask ye his name? Christ Jesus is his name." Well, after they had finished singing, there was a great quiet and hush that filled the people's hearts all around. The whole atmosphere had changed. Where before there was discouragement and despondency and hopelessness, the people resumed their work with fresh vigor. And guess what? In the morning, the joyful cry came out that the men were found alive. And never was a word more in season than that child's hymn. It just transformed the attitude and courage of everyone around, and the ultimate result were the men were rescued. Now, what is a lesson we can learn from this? Well, it's probably obvious. But how many of you have been in situations where you're anxious, fearful, or scared, helpless, and afraid? Or you may have been with people who are feeling this way. Well, something we can do in these situations to help us cope and help us refocus in our attitude is to sing. It can give our own hearts courage and hope as we look to a power beyond our own. And if we sing out loud, others can hear it too, and this will warm their hearts and give them courage as well to face whatever difficulty they're in. So remember this, next time you are faced with a challenging situation, remember that you can sing, and this will bring courage. Learn songs that have deep and meaningful words that will be pertinent for a difficult situation, so that when you come to them, you can just start singing. And may you and others be blessed as you do this. Bye for now.